So on Wednesday, we looked at robustness of T procedures, and we looked at the fact that there's a problem when you have skewness. We saw that the capture rate is not close to the true confidence level. So for example, we have a 95% confidence level. Our capture rate might have been 85%, 70%, 90%. It was nowhere close to 95%. That was the problem with skewness. Let's take a look at the problem with outliers. So here, let me inspect the collection. I have sampled 10 cases, and I've created 100 different confidence intervals based on sample sizes of 10. My confidence interval is for estimating the true mean of this distribution, and 94% of my intervals capture the truth. And let me do a different set of 100 intervals. 94% of those capture the truth, 96% of those capture the truth, and so on. So it doesn't appear that there's a problem, or at least there's not the same problem that we have when we have a skewed distribution. Let's take a look at the confidence intervals themselves. And specifically, let's focus on the width of those intervals, and let's do a graph of the width of the intervals. Notice we have something kind of strange going on here. We have 5 intervals that are a lot wider than these other 95. So why is that happening? Well, that's because in those 5 intervals, our outlier was one of the 10 values that was in the sample. And that created a higher sample standard deviation, and that created a wider interval. So we don't know whether our interval is the wide interval or the more appropriate narrow interval when we do our one confidence interval. We don't know which set this will lie. And a wider interval obviously is a lot less useful than a narrower interval. So that's the problem with outliers. Let's see what happens to the confidence width when we change our sample size to be 30. So we'll change this from 10 to 30. Notice this changed over here to 30, and let's do another set of 100 confidence intervals. 94% of those captured the truth, captured the true mean. 95% of those captured the true mean, and 99% of those captured the true mean. Let's take a look once again at a graph of the width of the confidence intervals. So yes, we still have a group here that is a bit higher because of capturing this, or because of selecting this outlier in our sample of 30, but now this outlier is not having as large of an impact on the standard deviation as when we had a sample size of 10. So yes, we have some intervals that are wider, but now instead of the intervals having widths of 1 versus 5 or 6, we have intervals having widths of 1 versus width of 2. So this is clearly much better. We will be having your test on Chapter 8 on Wednesday, so please make sure you take time to study for that test.